All right, let's talk about something we all do, probably dozens of times a day without even thinking about it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how search engines actually work.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You type a question and bam, an instant answer appears. It feels like a magic trick, doesn't it? But it's not magic. So what's the secret? How is this even possible?
Well, a big part of why it feels like magic is just the sheer mind-boggling scale of it all. We are talking about billions, with a B. Every single time you search, the engine has to sort through billions of web pages. That's more information than you could read in 1,000 lifetimes, organized for you in a split second.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to demystify this whole thing, breaking down that magic trick into a clear, step-by-step method. We're moving from magic to the actual method.
So at the end of the day, what is a search engine? Google, Bing, whatever you use, it's really just a piece of software. A super smart program designed to do one thing. Find information for you on that massive, chaotic thing we call the internet.
And believe it or not, this incredibly complex software boils down to a surprisingly simple three-step system. Just remember these three words: crawl, index, and rank. That's the core of it. So let's dive in and see what each one of those actually means.
All right, first up, crawling. Think of this as mapping the entire digital universe. I mean, before a search engine can find anything, it first has to know what even exists out there, right? So the search party begins. To do this, search engines unleash these little automated programs. They're often called crawlers or spiders. And their entire job, 24/7, is just to travel the web. They follow links from one page to another, kind of like how you'd click around, but they do it at a speed that's just, well, it's pretty much impossible to imagine. And these little bots, they're not just window shopping. Oh no, they are reading everything. The words on the page, the keywords, they're looking at the images, checking out the titles, and this is super important. They're cataloging all the links on that page, because that's how they find new roads to travel on the web. Okay, so you've got these crawlers bringing back mountains and mountains of information. That's great, but now you've got a new problem. What do you do with all this chaotic data? Well, that brings us right to step 2, building the ultimate library. This next step is called indexing. All that stuff the crawlers found gets stored and organized into this massive database. The absolute best way to think about it is like a giant digital library for the whole internet. Every single web page is a book, and the index is like the world's most perfect card catalog, telling the librarian exactly where everything is. Now, this is a really key point, something most people get wrong. When you type something into that search box, you are not searching the live real-time internet. No way, that would take forever. What you're actually searching is the search engine's own copy, its index. You're searching that super fast library, not the whole world.
So we've mapped the web with crawlers, and we've built the library with the index. Now for the grand finale, the most critical part of all, ranking. This is the contest where only the very best answer gets to win.
The second you hit enter, the system just dives headfirst into that index. And sure, it's looking for your keywords, but modern search engines are way smarter than just matching words. They try to figure out what you mean, your intent. So if you type pizza near me, it knows you're not looking for a Wikipedia article on pizza, you're looking for a place to eat. That's the smart part. So how does it decide what comes first? Well, there are literally hundreds of factors, but they mostly boil down to 3 big ideas. First, is it relevant? Like, does this page actually answer your question? Second, is it trustworthy? Is this a real authoritative source? And third, is it popular? A great way to think about this is that a link from another website is kind of like a vote of confidence. The more votes a page gets from other trusted sites, the higher it climbs in the rankings. And this is where it feels like magic all over again. This whole crazy process, understanding what you want, searching billions of pages in its library, and then running that complex ranking contest, all of it happens in milliseconds, literally faster than you can blink. It's just an absolutely incredible feat of engineering. But wait, there's one more piece to the puzzle. Have you ever noticed that if you search for the same thing 2 days in a row, you might get different results? Why is that? Well, it's because this whole thing isn't static. It's a living, breathing system. So, why the change? For one, those crawlers are always out there, finding brand new stuff the second it gets published. Also, old pages get updated all the time. And of course, things like your actual physical location can change everything. I mean, if you're searching for restaurants near me, you'd want a different answer in New York than you would in London, right? Okay, so let's recap the whole journey super quick. First, the bots crawl the web to discover what's out there.
Then, all that data gets organized into the index, that big library. After that, the engine matches your query to the index, and finally, ranks the results to show you the best stuff first, all in a flash.
You know, when you stop and think about it, this process has totally transformed how we get information, how we learn, how we live. So next time you go to that simple search bar, maybe you'll have a little picture in your head of everything that's happening behind the screen. It isn't magic, but man, it's about as close as you can get with technology.